Continuing reading. Kudos to you for hanging in there and keeping yourself well educated. It was face-spacing that showed me the power of the I, the full potential self, working within every individual. Every one of us has a full potential. There are no dummies on this planet. For no matter what problem anyone had, whenever I face-spaced it, I found a full potential self orchestrating that problem. So in this book, I will teach you how to face-space and give you a universal model and a number of workable, tested ways to solve any problem. You will find that the world looks different when you face-space it. As different as full-color Mandelbrot set from a page of random numbers. You will find that life is far better, far more beautiful than you ever dreamed it could be. And you will find that problems you thought would draw you are but ripples in a quantum wave and are all provided for your pleasure. But if you want to understand the nature of your problems and the orders within orders that are creating those problems, you must be prepared to accept that everything you have ever believed is not true. Let go of your ego and thinking you are right about something. You are wrong. If you can let go of that and open your mind to something completely different, then you're accessing your full potential self. Don't count it as false. Just realize that when you face-space it, you will see it in an entirely different way, and with that new insight, you will learn to unfold the wonderful potential within every problem you have ever had. You will learn there never was a problem that didn't have a into it a lesson, and there never was a problem that your mind didn't know the solution to it before it created the problem. Now, this is one way you can really see this. If you have a complaint about something, if you know something is wrong, doesn't that mean you know something is right? How can you define something as wrong without knowing what is right? But you're so focused on everything that's wrong, you're not realizing that you do know what's right, and that what's right is not being done. That's why you're complaining and bitching about it, because you know what's right. But you need to tap into that aspect of yourself that knows what's right and unfold the potential, because you think, I can't do anything, I can't do anything. Yes, you can. But we need to come together on this one. You can't do it alone. But it starts with you. And if everybody started with themselves, we'd have everybody working the problem. That's why this cannot be done where you only let this information be known to the few. If you understand this, it's your job to kind of teach this with those that can't afford it, those that don't have the internet, those that aren't aware of this. You just need to teach them, hey, try to learn how to access your full potential. Don't give them advice, don't give them your opinions, because then you are taking advantage of them. You are trying to manipulate them to have your full potential, and that ain't the way it works. That's why I ain't saying I have any of the answers. All I'm saying is you have all of the answers. Not me. I ain't a leader. You are your own leader. Leaders are kind of the bad thing. How then do you shift from problem focus to solution focus? How do you align your life energies to become part of the solution to any problem? How do you really get from point A to point B? You start by face-spacing reality. If you want to solve any problem, you must begin at the beginning, with the very nature of reality, with the particle and the wave. To face-space reality, you step outside your normal view of things. You unmesmerize or de-hypnotize yourself. You shift your rational view of the quantum view and come to see reality through the eyes of a quantum thinker. Quantum thinking. Quantum thinking is some of the best thinking around right now. In fact, quantum thinkers have devised the most accurate science ever created by humankind. One that predicts better and explains more comprehensively than any other. Everything from subatomic particles and biological systems to space travel and the movements of galaxies. Quantum thinking began around the turn of the century when scientists using classical Newtonian physics could not account for the stability of the atom or the amount of energy radiating from the black body. A new perspective was needed, and thus born quantum mechanics. Max Planck and Albert Einstein solved the riddle of black body radiation by giving quantum measurement to the radiation field, and thus was born the photon. Niels Bohr, Louis de Broglie, and Erwin Schrödinger, I'm really bad at saying names, solved the riddle of atomic stability by giving quantum measurement to energy waves within the atom, and thus were born the standing wave of the electron. But viewing radiation fields and energy waves as quanta, discrete bits or pieces of energy, which are both particles and waves, sent ripples throughout the world of science. Such thinking implied that there might be dimensions of reality beyond the speed of light which were causing things to happen. It suggested answers to otherwise puzzling questions. What, for example, was making the very fabric of space bend, and why was there an irreducible uncertainty to everything in the universe? When scientists look at the universe from a quantum perspective, they discovered in the very fabric of space and time an unprevailing force, the quantum force, so great that the cubic centimeter of space contained more energy than all matter everywhere. They discovered that this force spread throughout the universe in an infinite field, the quantum wave. And they discovered that the quantum force, the quantum wave, and everything in the physical universe were governed by an underlying order, an order within all orders. This is kind of like there is no free will. There is free will, but there's no free will within the will that you want to believe is to be true. If you constantly believe that everything can change, then you create those orders within orders, but you can jump out of those orders within orders. So that's why some people believe there is no free will. They're trapped within their own caged mind thinking. And there will be orders within orders that give them absolutely zero choices, which makes them think that they have no free will. But you have the free will to get out of a lot of different orders within orders. The three central concepts of quantum thinking helped me explain what I was observing about the human mind. First was the concept of the universal field containing all possibilities, every potential for any circumstances, the quantum wave. Second was the concept of an underlying enfolded order within the universe, the implicit order. And third was the concept of the dual nature of physical reality, both particle and wave. The quantum wave. The quantum wave was thought, at first, to be the only theoretical probability, but David Bohm and others who place in what they call the unmanifested plane are convinced from their findings that the quantum wave is the source of all physical reality, of everything in the manifested plane. So everything we touch, see, hear, smell, and taste, everything in our physical world is the result of a collapse of the quantum wave into a particle of physical reality. Some scientists call the quantum wave the offer wave because, in a way, it offers every possibility. The offer wave is seen from a quantum perspective as being composed of an infinite number of quanta, bits and pieces, which make up the complete set of possibilities for any given circumstances. It is the human mind which targets the collapse of the wave function. When you choose what you want, you focus on a particle quantum. By choosing it and meeting all the boundary conditions, you cause the quantum wave to collapse, and what you want becomes a reality. The implicit order. David Bohm, one of the most gifted quantum thinkers of the last 50 years, hypothesized that all matter, energy, and even time itself was the result of an order enfolded within the universe, the implicit order. This deep order is contained in what he calls the quantum dimension, or within quantum wave itself. The implicit order governs everything, living and non-living, from the smallest cell and subatomic particles to human societies and universe itself. It explains why species migrate, why things grow in all the complex patterns of nature, how life organizes itself, and most importantly, how human mind functions, how it creates reality. For Bohm, the implicit order is non-linear. He sees the universe as a field of influence in which all material things, all laws of nature reside, as one dynamic integrating quantum projection. I call this universe the holodynamic universe. The particle and the wave. From a holodynamic perspective, everything is made of energy. The quantum force manifests this energy of the physical world as both particle and wave. This point was made by Albert Einstein, Boris Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen, EPR, over 50 years ago. They proposed that when any two coupled particles were separated and one was measured as either a particle or a wave, it would collapse the wave function for the other to become the same thing, no matter how far apart they were. In other words, measuring one to be a particle or a wave would make the other a particle or a wave. In 1965, John Stuart Bell devised a way to actually perform the EPR experiment. In Bell's experiment, coupled photons were split apart, and as the photons traveled away from one another, each was measured to see if it was a wave or a particle. In one photon was measured to be a wave. Sure enough, the other photon also turned out to be a wave. But if one photon was measured to be a particle, then the other photon became a particle. So there was some way that one photon was explaining the other. Hey there, measure me to be a particle so you be a particle. And to do that, they had to communicate faster than the speed of light. Because the two photons were traveling away from one another, each at almost the speed of light, and together at almost twice the speed of light. Even so, what Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen proposed, and Bell demonstrated, turned out to be true. There was a dimension beyond the speed of light, and it affected physical reality. The EPR Bell experiment also showed that your results depend in part on your measuring apparatus, and in part on what you intend to get. Whether something appears as a particle or a wave depends on how you measure it, how you look at it, and on what you want it to be. Elementary particles or waves behave according to the conditions you set for them, and so therefore does physical reality. If you step outside your usual thinking processes for just a moment and face what is happening in your view of reality, one thing becomes evident. Your mind has two major processes by which it deals with reality: a rational particle process and an intuitive wave process. You can look at anything from a particle perspective or a wave perspective, and reality will usually respond. Quantum thinking then gives us a powerful new perspective, not just as physical reality, but also on the human mind as it perceives, affects, and creates that reality. Quantum thinking helps us understand and direct our minds better than any other science ever devised. Topology. One way to keep track of phase-spacing, the dynamics of reality in the mind, the interactions of the rational and intuitive processes within the quantum wave, the quantum force, the implicit order, and the particle and wave functions of reality, is to create a typology. Scientists and engineers use topology to change the size or shape of something without changing any of its functions. So by metaphorically adopting topology, we can map the mind in the shape of a simple cube without changing any of its functions. Now, in light of a new quantum science, let's look at a topology of the mind, a mind model which shows both the particle and wave functions of reality, and which takes into account all other aspects of quantum view of reality. Here's the Mandelbrot set. Check it out. You can get these pictures on the internet. The next one is, this one's going to be good, the next chapter. I'm running out of space here, so I'll continue on another tape. It's going to get real interesting. And these books do give you really good examples that you can wrap your brain around, because I find the problem with some of the deepest science is like, okay, that's cool, but what does that mean in real life? How do I adapt this in my real experience? This gives some really hard evidence. This book was written more than 20 years ago and has cured every illness, and he will give examples of all of the illnesses that he has cured. You need to understand this. I'll go on another tangent.